Hello everyone, welcome back to video time. Today, children and adults alike, we are going to be learning about hamster care. You're going to be learning it from me because the websites that I'm going to show you are probably going to be providing us with false, misleading, misguided information. So buckle up, because I did this not too long ago, probably about 11 months ago, where I reviewed PetMD's hamster care guide, which was absolutely freaking horrible. You should check that video out. Handy dandy laptop here. Aww. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about Kaytee's website on 9 pet hamster care tips for beginners. Let's get started. And for those who don't know, my name is Munchie and I run a small animal rescue out of the state of Washington, so I advocate for the correct hamster keeping, at least here in America. Elsewhere, it's going to be much higher or much lower depending on your pet laws and or the products in your area. But just as a general rule, we should make sure that companies, at least here in my states of the United States, are going to be promoting excellent care out there. And for companies like Kaytee, which has not changed their game since I've been a child. I'm in my 30s now. I'm a millennial. Yeah, they haven't changed. And even though they came out with their Super Critter Trail cage that claims 540 square inches of floor space, they did not discontinue and make new cages from their old Critter Trail line. They're still producing them. They really don't care about making sure our animals are safe and that their products are safe for our animals. I've had horror stories being shared with me about hamsters getting stuck in the bars, getting stuck and dying in the tubes because they were too small and they couldn't turn around in them, etc. And it all came from Kaytee. Kaytee is an absolute nightmare. So if you own a Kaytee, I hope that this helps you out to understand why it's not appropriate. Let's get started. Choose a habitat. Your little dude or dudette needs a safe home in which to explore and feel comfortable. Explore colors, tubes, accessories, and add-ons, which are linked to their products, to create a unique habitat with plenty of places to tunnel, hide, and burrow. When you say hide, really, there's no place for a prey animal to hide. You cannot stick but a single hide inside of the Kaytee Critter Trails, and we're gonna disclude the Super Critter Trail. They say explore colors. There's no way you can explore colors. I'm gonna click on this. I wanna see what it says. They sent me to the other accessories section. So first thing, we see bamboo nesting material. Don't use it. Kaytee Critter Trail Funnel Lookout. Oh, is that what they call it? The funnel lookout? Ugh, no. And that thing is like connecting to the bottom, so they have to straight shoot all the way to the top in order to get to it. And then of course we got the Kaytee 10-inch tubes, 3.5-inch tubes, 4-way across, the elbow, the T, and then the U-turn. They're just promoting themselves. It's them literally saying, these are the tips and tricks. No, it's buy more of our product. Use different, again, link, Critter Trail tubes to connect 2 or more habitats to create endless configurations. So instead of providing accurate information about their needs and how they are burrow animals, and so they actually create their own burrows, you don't necessarily need to provide them with tunnels and tubes. For me, I do have a ton of tunnels and tubes, like cardboard tubes that were from Night Angel or the ceramic tubes. They don't really like using those. They actually make their own burrows, and half the time it's underneath their own hide. So if you want to get really creative, you could try to offer them tunnels, but they'll probably make it themselves if you give them enough bedding. Pick bedding they can burrow in and make sure to choose the right sized water bottle, like a 6-ounce chew-proof water bottle linked to our page. I know it is on their website, so of course they're going to be linking their stuff because they're trying to be helpful, but at the same time, it's choose a habitat. It's not choose a water bottle, it's choose a habitat. And they have no information about you should choose horizontal, not vertical enclosures, even though they have vertical enclosures, the 2-level vertical enclosure, which is awful. Just no real information about how to care for your animal right off the bat with number one. Number one being habitat, which is the most important. And nobody's gonna understand except for doing their own research about why these are bad for them, because the tunnels are way too small, the enclosure's way too small. They want to avoid any sort of questioning or conflict. Number 2 says put the habitat in the right place. As is the case with many small animals, placement is essential to a happy pet. Put your hamster's home near sounds of your family, but not right in the thick of things. No! Put your home near sounds of your family, Kaytee? Who the heck wrote this? Okay, I'm getting pissed. This is where the Munchie rage comes out that you guys like so much apparently. But you do not put a nocturnal or twilight animal near sounds, especially since we are day dwellers, all right? We do not sleep during the day unless you're graveyard shift, all right here? We don't need to make their lives more stressful because we are causing them to have sounds from our family running around the house, having kids, because again, Kaytee caters to kids. They don't cater to me. They cater to your kids or your cousins or your neighbors, or if you have students, your students. But yeah, no, you don't. It disrupts them. It makes them stress. This is a horrible idea. But then it says, but not right in the thick of things. That is so stupidly vague, Kaytee. Kaytee, I want to just give you the middle finger, but I won't do it here because that kids might be watching. However, my channel is not only for kids, but it's more of a PG parental guidance. Might say some curse words here and there, but yeah, no, I'm not like the most kid friendly, but then again, kids will figure this stuff out so quickly, so it's teach your kids, all right? I'm not gonna be teaching your kids how to behave themselves when they're in your presence and at school and with social cues and stuff, all right? That's you. I'm just a hamster lady. They'll be comforted by your day-to-day sounds. Okay, but we'll be stressed out by loud noises and lots of hubbub right outside their space. Put them close, but don't put them too close, but just make sure there's no sound going on, all right? Just make sure you walk very quietly and don't step on anything that will set off an alarm, all right? This is so stupid. Do also be sure to keep your pet's habitat away from any vents or drafty windows to ensure they are in a safe, temperature-controlled environment. Do not put your animal in a garage, and make sure to not put them in a shed that's not a controlled shed, all right? And make sure that you don't keep them in the attic, even though I don't know anybody who has attics. If you have attics, that's pretty cool because I had a creepy attic at my old house that I used to live at with my uncle, and that was filled with rats that would sneak in somewhere. Thankfully, the attic was in the laundry room, so that's the only access that you can get in and out of was that laundry room. It was not connected to the pet room or my bedroom. However, I heard them constantly and it freaking annoyed me. Although, if you live in apartments, I mean, you have noisy neighbors, so rats I would take any day over noisy neighbors up above. Cover their habitat with a light cloth for the first few days. Just keep them in a dark area. Don't cover them because, of course, if you're providing them with something that's a cloth, they can rip the cloth if it's too close to the wires, if you're using a wire enclosure. You could also cause the temperature to spike, and sometimes people don't understand light cloth, so they find something that's not really breathable, and no, don't do that. Just make sure that you keep them in an area that's nice and quiet and you're not going to disturb them, and you keep the lights off. So like a closet that you don't really use, or the office where you're naturally quiet inside of it. Give them the headspace to get to know their new habitat for a few days without the distractions of your home by placing a light cloth over their space. Feel free to take this cover off for bonding time. So basically, you want to make sure you give them space, but you can also remove it because you want to bond with them, right? What's the point of the cloth then? The cloth is supposed to be there so they can like desensitize themselves to their new environment, all right? And if you are just going to take the cloth off and then start interacting with them, you're breaking the cycle of like them trying to de-escalate. De-escalate, desensitize. Desensitize? Am I using the right words anymore? What is this? I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Number 4, wait a few days before trying to pick them up. Hey, it's so contradictory. I can't even. They're contradictory. I'm losing my mind. You know the words, right? I'm trying to say the words, but my mind's just getting so flustered. They are just overlapping information and it doesn't line up. It's like, ugh. So, I'll continue. Like any new friendship, it takes time to get to know someone and feel comfortable with them. That said, wait a while to handle your hamster or pick them up. After a few days of giving them food and water, they'll start to trust you. That's not necessarily correct. No. Very vague. Instead of just saying, hey, try food first, put it on your hand. I mean, like nothing helpful. This is not helpful. This is stupid. So yeah, not helpful. Try to put your hand in the enclosure, have your hamster walk on your hand, and then do the whole walking step motion. And then once you feel comfortable picking them up, you should be able to pick them up different ways too, by the way. You shouldn't just be doing the cup method. You want them to start to get comfortable with your presence, picking them up, doing health checks. 5. Once they're acclimated, think outside the box for feeding time. You don't eat the same things every day, do you? Your hammy will appreciate a varied diet as much as humans do. In addition to their normal everyday food, link to their food, try giving them small amounts of carrots, squash, broccoli, cucumbers, apples, pears, or berries. Hey, look, they listed something that's helpful. Wow, Kaytee, but how often should you feed them? Let's see if they say that. Ask your vet about the best foods to feed your new friend. Why would you ask your vets? Your vets are probably gonna want to do a checkup, and you really don't necessarily need to do a checkup for your hamster. You should do your checkups when there is something that might be going on that you suspect. If they are exhibiting weird behaviors such as lethargic, not eating, drinking little, drinking too much, urinating too little, urinating too much, blood in their enclosure, their teeth are messed up, things like that, you know? But of course, you shouldn't just ask your vet because there's a lot of information online, especially California Hamster Association or Ontario Hamster Club or other hamster clubs around the world. Those are just the ones I go to. I'm sorry, others that I keep forgetting about. I'm so sorry. But they have some information on the correct food that you could be feeding them. Anyways, it says right here, remember, treats should always be given in moderation. What is the definition of treats? Are you saying that these fruits and veggies are considered to be treats? Because they should be given alongside rather than, you know, given as treats. However, berries or things that naturally have sugar in them, definitely you could give them as a treat, give them just a little instead of a lot. And there's also treats that people give them from the pet store. Clean and wash your hamster space regularly. There's a happy medium between keeping your hamster's home clean and comfy and creating undue stress by cleaning it too much. In general, clean the toilet area daily, meaning spot clean. So you take out the soil clump in the corner and you put new bedding there. Spot change bedding as needed when soiled or wet. So basically that is spot cleaning. However, there should always be a schedule and it depends on the size of your enclosure. You do not need to clean out your enclosure that often if it's a much bigger space versus that of a smaller space. Wipe out the food dish weekly. Scatter feeding is preferred because that's their natural foraging behavior. However, I've had hamsters that I've given them fruits and veggies in the bowl and then they take all of their food and then they stash it in the bowl. So weird when they do that, but I've had a couple of them do that, actually more than a couple, a handful of them do that, and I thought it was just so weird after I was done scatter feeding. Change their water daily because you don't want anything building up. So a lot of water bottles are plastic, so they do have like the slimy residue on them. So if they are a bigger water bottle, then it's ideal to wash that out daily. Empty their entire habitat weekly or twice a week. Because they have their critter trails, that's why they're saying weekly or twice a week. So they're providing not so vague information this time about their own products. Place all new bedding weekly. By the way, I believe the new size requirements is either 600 or 620 square inches. Let me just quickly look this up. California Hamster Association now supports a 600-inch medium cage size. However, at Munchie's place, our medium cage size is now 750 square inches for Syrian hamsters, with 600 square inches being for dwarf hamsters. Give them plenty of out of habitat time. A great way to give your hamster exercise and to get some needed bonding time is to provide ample playtime outside their habitat each week. We suggest with a link, setting up a small gated area with lots of toys and some treats so they can explore and say hi to their human family. Remember to always supervise your hamster when he or she is out of their habitat. Take time to bond with your hamster. Patience, regular feeding, lots of out of habitat playtime, and soft talk will go a long way in helping you bond with your hamster. Make sure to always approach your pet slowly and talk to them in a conversational manner because you're gonna have some deep conversations with your hamster. Big words. They'll learn to recognize your scent and voice and see you as a source of comfort. This actually is true. Over time, when you do announce your presence, and if you spend time outside their enclosure and they know what's coming, especially when you have like an opening lap like I do with my preview cages, they come right to the door and expect you to interact with them, pick them up, give them treats, etc. Number 9, we're finally there. Handle your pet with care. Unlike other small animals, hamsters and gerbils, why are gerbils in here? Anyways, need to be picked up with both hands and cradled in cupped hands. The same goes for putting them down, but use extra caution so they don't accidentally escape or slip through your hands. And they also should add that you, at first, when picking them up, you should cup them very low to the ground. You don't want them accidentally jumping out, because if they jump out from a really big height, then they can injure themselves, and it's not good when they do, because they break limbs, they have spine injuries, which of course means that they might not use their front or back legs. Usually it's the back legs. Neurological issues, blindness if they land on their eye and they poke their eye, just the list goes on. And if you have a dwarf hamster too, that's even worse, because dwarf hamsters, they are so prone to like falling and damaging their noggins pretty much, where they have neurological issues. So they will backflip, spin around, and or have seizures because of the damage that has occurred. So enclosures that are vertical are usually where I see dwarf hamsters have the most amount of damage. With Syrians, I usually just see limbs. A thing here too, which should be a tip, is make sure you have funds for vet offices. So like right now, I think that my vets for a regular person is about maybe $65 or $75 to see the animal. And when it comes to medication, like if they have an upper respiratory infection, so doxycycline, amoxicillin, things like that, then it's I think $19 to $29. And also a lot of places take care credit. So that is basically a payment plan, which is kind of like a credit card, but it's mainly for specific places like vet offices, eye offices, dentists, you name it. That is a good option too, where you could just make monthly payment plans to that credit card company. Because these pets are naturally nocturnal, wow, they actually mentioned this now at the very end, be sensitive to the time of day you are trying to handle your hamster. Good advice. You wouldn't want someone snatching you up out of your sweet dreams. And I'm looking at the sources. They got the Humane Society as one of their sources, and then PetMD, which is the exact same one that I reviewed. Oh my God, why? Why? Oh, it makes me so mad. So I hate this. And then they also have a bunch of different links down below too. Like for whatever reason, they have bunnies and guinea pigs and chinchillas, and that's nothing to do with hamsters, but they want you to click on them because maybe if you like this one pet, you'll like the other pets. And I've actually had a few people rehoming multiple animals all at once because they couldn't care for them anymore, but they impulsively bought them like a couple months after one another. Please don't do that. Make sure that when you have an animal that you are committed to that animal. And if you think that you can take on another animal in the very distant future, not the near future, distant, after a while, and you check your funds and your finances and you're like, okay, maybe I can commit to another animal, do so. Otherwise, please don't think that your animal needs a companion. It does not. They'd even give you a tip here saying, hey, make sure that you keep your hamsters separate, don't add them together. Like, these are supposed to be helpful tips to get people started, but again, it's crap. It's absolutely crap. So I hope you learned something new today. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have your own tips that you wish were in the Kaytee tip website, leave them below too. I want to see what you guys would have given when it came to 9 helpful tips to get you started on your hamster care keeping. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I'll see you around in the next video. Bye!